The statistics are sobering. In the first half of 2017, a record 241 people died from fentanyl-related causes in this province. That's compared to 155 during the same period last year. And it's particularly frightening for parents. So how do you talk to your kids about the dangers of opioid-type drugs? And what do you say? Well, here to walk us through this is Cheryl Houtekamer. She's with Youth Addiction Services Calgary, a division of addiction and mental health at AHS. Cheryl, thanks so much for being here this morning.
Well, thank you for having me.
Where do parents start? Because so many of us, of course, are really concerned about this issue. And where is the best place to start when it comes to the kids?
Well, I think the most important thing is that parents intentionally need to build relationship with their children, right from infancy all the way up, and engage them and spend time with them and be involved in their lives, because it makes it that much easier to have these conversations that maybe are a little bit awkward or serious. It creates opportunity. The other thing is, we know having a significant relationship with a caring adult is very protective for kids. So that's a very important thing. Okay. The other thing is that these conversations, these dialogues should start as soon as your child's old enough to start asking questions.
Okay.
And I think my daughter was about 3.5 when she asked me, "Why do people smoke, Mommy?" And so you need to have these conversations. It's not a one-time thing, and then you're done. It's an ongoing dialogue that changes as your child ages.
Right.
And so that, again, creates that opportunity. It's not awkward. You're not bringing up something unfamiliar.
Right, it's just out of the blue.
It's just part of that ongoing discussion that you have with your young person.
We were talking off camera just before now that, you know, my daughter was exposed to something in a movie. That might be a good springboard for a conversation.
Oh, excellent. Any kind of stuff in the media, and nowadays there's so much in the media,
of course,
is a really good springboard for bringing it up. You know, what do you think about that? Like, did you read that article? That surprised me. Did it surprise you? And it gets that conversation going.
Right. So it is about having that dialogue, that communication from a very early age.
Yes.
Wonderful. Are there some key messages that parents really need to get across when they have those opportunities for discussion?
When we're talking specifically about opioids, I think there's two key messages that parents need to get across. One is that some people have the perception that if it's prescription opioid that's made in a pharmaceutical laboratory with oversight and regulations and standards, that is somehow safer. But if you're using it not according to the directions, if you're using a drug that's not prescribed to you particularly, it is not safe. It is not safer. The other thing is, when we're talking about illicit street drugs, the main message there is that you never know what's in it. There is no oversight. There are no regulations. There's no recipe book. These drugs are created by having whatever is available, whatever they can get into the country, thrown into them. And they're poorly mixed. So I like to use the analogy of making chocolate chip cookies. When I make chocolate chip cookies, I mix them well. But some cookies have 8 chocolate chips and some have 4.
Right.
And so these drugs are, when you're talking that overdose can be the difference between something the size of a grain of salt, that mixing process is very important. And it doesn't matter if we're talking fentanyl, carfentanil, acetylfentanyl, W18, it's always the same. That's the key message, is you never know what's in it.
Right. Okay. Wow. Are there some kids that might be more vulnerable to this than others? And what do those kids look like? What are we watching for as parents?
Well, it's really difficult to say that there's a particular look or thing that makes a young person vulnerable. But the research indicates the sorts of things are young people who struggle at school, who struggle to make and keep friends, young people who maybe have a cognitive disorder or a mental health disorder, young people who are already using drugs and alcohol, or who have friends who are using drugs and alcohol, young people who love sensation seeking, who are impulsive. These are the young people that might be more vulnerable to substance abuse.
Wonderful. Those are great traits to watch out for. And if there's a parent watching right now that might be really concerned right now, is there some place people can go right now?
Well, I think if a parent is concerned because they have a young person who is abusing opioids, one of the things that they might want to do is get a naloxone kit to have. And you can find out a lot more about that by going to stopods.ca, which is on the AHS website. For parents who just want to learn how to talk to their kids about this, go to ahs.ca and search Parent Information Series. And there's a whole bunch of information there about how to have these conversations with your kids at all ages.
At all ages.
Yes.
And what about a phone number? Can we give a phone number out for parents just in case they need one right away?
If parents want to phone and talk to a counselor about their young person, please call Youth Addiction Services at 403-297-4664.
Wonderful. And that number was right there on the screen. Thank you so much, Cheryl. Fantastic information there. And we want to protect our kids, don't we, all of us?
For sure.
Of course. Cheryl, thanks so much.